going to be really hard for me to get through this without it being laden with F-bombs. My frustration and anger are visceral. When I read this article yesterday, it invoked such a palpable response in me that I couldn't talk to you about it. I couldn't share my thoughts because I knew I would blow up a gasket. Now I know I blow a gasket on a regular basis, but this is a level too far. This is something that Rachel Reeves has done that has overstepped the mark with no return. It has unequivocally highlighted what Rachel Reeves has in her mind when she is killing the economy. And it is about our destruction because she is contemptuous about us. She holds us in contempt. So, first of all, please like, subscribe and share. And on this one, please do share. It would be my dream that Rach, hi love, sees this. It would be my dream that she actually watches a mum from her kitchen sink, just finished the washing up, got to go and tidy 2 bedrooms, sort the washing out, and carry on with my daily life, but yet am so vastly impacted by her negativity, her condescension, and her absolute lack of optics about what's going on in our worlds. So I represent, I think, the real human. And Rachel, you need to see what that looks like. So let's talk about the article. So Rachel has, she's over in Washington, and she says, those with the broadest shoulders should pay their fair share of taxes. Right, let's dismantle that. What do you mean by the broadest shoulders? Talk to us about what your definition of the broadest shoulders is. Then tell me why they should be paying more tax. Tell me how much tax they're already paying, and tell me why you think they should be paying more tax. I mean, I've written this down. What's a broad shoulder? Who defines that? What constitutes a fair share? Who decides what a fair share is? You decide what they've got to pay, but you're telling us that's a fair share. Now, the language here, those with the broadest shoulders should pay their fair share of tax. Rachel Reeves is inferring that they don't. Rachel Reeves is letting herself off the hook, because why do they need to pay? Why are we having more tax rises? Is it because there's nothing else to do on a grey Friday? Or is it because the economy is in dire straits? I'm going to go with the latter. That's why we're having more tax rises. And we're having more tax rises because since Labour came into power, growth has slumped, unemployment has risen, and we don't have more money in our pockets. Oh, but we do have a power cut. Awesome. So Rach has decided that she's going to tell people that they should pay their fair share of tax. So she's letting herself off the hook. She's taking all the blame from herself and giving it to a pocket of society. And she's saying, well, you need to pay your fair share. That would suggest that they haven't been. That would suggest that they haven't been paying tax. And that would suggest that it's their responsibility to get her and us out of this mess. That's what Rachel's doing. She's picking up the problem and she's giving it to somebody else because she cannot accept that this problem was her own. So psychologically, Rachel is projecting. She's deflecting. She is defending herself and incapable of taking responsibility. Now, there's all manner of shit that goes on in this article that, I can't. I could break it down. I could go sentence by sentence. But as I said, I've got bedrooms to hoover, washing to sort, dog sick to clear up. It ate a chocolate orange. I mean, I ask you. But I am going to get to the bit at the end. So she said, asked if higher taxes on the wealthy would feature in her crucial statement next month, Rachel Reeves agreed. That will be part of the story. However, she denied it would spark an exodus of better off Britons. Now, she's denied it would spark that. It's already happened. So we're denying reality. That's the first thing. She says, last year, when we announced things like the non-DOMs, like the private equity, like the VAT on private school fees, there was so much bleating that it wasn't going to raise the money, that people would leave, Ms. Reeves said. Okay, we've got to start with bleating. We absolutely have to start with bleating. There was so much bleating. Rachel's saying bleating because she wants to be condescending. She wants to belittle people's concerns. She wants to belittle people's anger. She wants to belittle people's responses to her policy. Somebody has dared to say that her policy didn't work and they didn't agree with it. So she needs to demean it. She needs to dismiss it. She needs to make it look stupid. She needs to devalue it. So she's chosen the term bleating. Now, that strikes a chord with me because if you are in a rural area, you don't need to be in a rural area, if you've ever heard a lamb bleating for its mother, it's a communication, it's a cry. Now, its actual definition of bleating is the weak, wavering cry of a sheep, goat or calf. And I think bleating actually really accurately sums up what people have done in response to Rachel. But the problem is she's using it in the wrong context. So she's using it to demean, to belittle, to condescend, to patronise, to hurt, to bully, to push back. Whereas actually, in its true definition, it is the weak, wavering cry. So when a calf bleats for its mother, when a lamb bleats for its mother, when an animal is in pain so that it bleats for help. This is not something that we should dismiss, that we should disparage, that we should cast aside, that we should mock. This is communication. This is an animal communicating in the most primitive form. It has needs. And these needs are not being met. So when Rachel Reeves says that these groups of people have been bleating, what they're saying is their needs have not been met. She has disparaged, patronised, disrespected, abused the families of 25,000 children that have had to leave their education. And when the parents of those who have had to take their children out of school, or when the parents of those who have had to think about taking their children out of school have risen to complain, they are condescended and they are accused of bleating. The British public, who have so vocally, respectfully, but viscerally complained against Rachel Reeves's policies, are accused of bleating. It invokes a real emotion in me, because when I think of bleating, I do think of that young animal, and then I think of the children, the young children who have had their pasts and their futures ripped away by a government that didn't risk assess, that didn't do the numbers, that didn't consult, that don't consult, that won't respond, that are denying, are gaslighting, are condescending, are dismissing children. And I can't stand for that, ever. And when people say to me, why do you stand at your kitchen sink? That is why. Because someone has to say something about what they are doing. And their bullying, pathetic tactics hold no truck with me. I see right through it. Rachel Reeves is trying to be the big man. She's trying to put you down. She is trying to belittle your feelings and your thoughts. Bridget Phillipson is denying the actual reality. Publish your VAT figures, Rachel. Publish how much money has been raised from VAT on education. Then publish how much it has cost the Treasury. Then publish how much it has cost the state in housing the 25,000 children that now need to go there. Or publish how much it has cost British families in finding different education for their children. I want to know how much it's raised, how much it's cost, where it's gone. Because it hasn't gone into the state system. And we know that, Rachel, because your esteemed leader told us it was going on social housing. How much? I want to see the figures. I want to see the profit and loss and cost. I want to see respect. I want an open, honest account of why you've done this. Because this is not money. And your little slip about people bleating tells us exactly why you've done this. You think we are beneath you. You think we are not worthy. You think we are simply blank checks for you to go and spend on whatever you deem suitable. You are pushing us down. And you use words like bleatingly, either unconsciously or consciously. You show a lack of knowledge, respect of the English language, and you show a massive lack of knowledge and respect of the voting public. You're digging your own grave, Rachel, but you're taking down families with it. I would say you should be ashamed, but you wouldn't know what that looks like. You wouldn't know what that feels like, because I feel like you and your cronies are devoid of empathy. You will not stop until you've got your political way. You have politicised education. And that was a massive, massive error.